would say I've gotten up bright and early to shoot this video, but I'm at my home station of Fitchburg. Welcome. And it's just gone 4:30 AM on August 17th 2022, and about 60 hours from now there will be a shutdown, a transportation change, the likes of which Boston has never really seen before. The entire Orange Line on the subway network will be shut down for a whole month. 30 straight days of no service at all on the Orange Line. And it goes without saying that is going to be incredibly disruptive to hundreds of thousands of people. But there is an agreement that the MBTA have given alongside all of this to help out in some way passengers trying to get from A to B. And it involves my dear, my beloved Commuter Rail. So let me skip forward to North Station and I'll explain a little more about what's going on. Right, so I'm here now at North Station. And I thought this is as good a time as any to show you or read out to you a press release from the MBTA directly from last Friday, August 12th. And in it highlights the alternative service arrangements for when the Orange Line will be shut down as of this coming Friday, August 19th. And I'd like to read this excerpt from it to highlight the usefulness of the Commuter Rail during that time. It says, quote, "The MBTA encourages Orange Line riders to plan ahead and consider Commuter Rail service as an alternative to the Orange Line. Commuter Rail trains will make additional stops at Forest Hills, Ruggles, Back Bay, North Station, right here, Malden Centre and Oak Grove stations to accommodate Orange Line passengers impacted by the bus diversion. Riders can simply show their Charlie card or Charlie ticket to conductors to ride the Commuter Rail in zones 1A, 1 and 2 on all Commuter Rail lines at no charge." So, what that very simply means is that all you need, doesn't matter if it has value on it or not, all you need to do is show one of these, a Charlie ticket or a Charlie card, and you will be able to get on any Commuter Rail train from Zone 1, Zone 1A, and Zone 2. You'll be able to travel for nothing during that time. During that 30-day period, all you need to do is present this to the conductor and you're fine. So I want to show the usefulness of what you can do with that and just how many places you can go in that time for nothing.
So that includes Brandeis Roberts, and I apologise for this being very dark, but hey, it's very early me shooting these.
And Waltham.
And Waverley.
And then Belmont. And then Porter Square, the final intermediate station before North Station in Boston. Now, unfortunately, at the time of filming, you will be able to see here that there are usual services going out to Wachusett, to Haverhill and Reading, also on the Haverhill line, and to Lowell. But there is nothing at the moment, unfortunately, to Newburyport or Rockport or Beverley, and that will be because we have this going on. So with the lack of luxury of time, I'm not going to be able to make my way over there, but I will highlight now what you can do on the Newburyport and Rockport line during that time. Okay, so as I mentioned, you sadly can't get up as far as Beverley at the moment on the Newburyport and Rockport lines, but I picked up a copy of the Newburyport Rockport schedule, and on the back of any schedule, not just the Newburyport Rockport one, you have this little map system here, which highlights very clearly the zoning system that is used in order to calculate fares on the Commuter Rail. So for the purpose of this video, everything in Zone 1A, this first grey area, Zone 1, the first white area, and then outside that, Zone 2, the other grey area I'm tracing with my finger. That is the area in which you can travel for nothing just by using your Charlie card. Now, for the sake of the Newburyport Rockport line and their services, 4 stations quite simply. North Station, where we are right now, Chelsea, Riverworks and Lynn. So essentially, North Station through to Lynn, that is free service on production of a Charlie card or Charlie tickets during the 30-day closure period of the Orange Line. I am very sorry that I can't make my way out to Lynn for you for this, but needs must. Try and fit these in my regular working day, but I hope that explains everything. By all means, if you've got any questions or comments, please let me know in the video or send me a message if you know me personally, and I will do my best to answer your questions. But let's go on the road now to somewhere else. So first up on the Haverhill line after North Station is Malden Centre. This one might be a bit of a blur as we go past it, but the station we're now going through is actually Oak Grove Station. Yes, for those of you who were not aware, Oak Grove does have a commuter rail platform, not just Orange Line. So for the duration of that 30-day closure period on the Orange Line, Oak Grove Commuter Rail Station is due to be open for public service. And whilst we weren't due to make a stop on this train because the additional stops haven't begun yet, what you saw then was Oak Grove Station, and services will be stopping at Oak Grove for that 30-day period. If you want to look for services at Oak Grove, have a look at the MBTA website. There's plenty of links taking you to the amended Haverhill line schedule, and there is also a dedicated hybrid timetable to highlight all services from Oak Grove and Malden Centre, taking you into North Station. And whilst there was only a very brief pause then between recording shots, here's the next station along the line, on the Haverhill line, Wyoming Hill. And then Melrose Cedar Park, then Melrose Highlands, Greenwood, Wakefield, and last but by no means least, Reading. The end of Zone 2 here on the Haverhill line. And on my way pulling in, I saw this sign just to highlight what I said about going through Oak Grove Station. On the way in, here is the proof in the pudding. August 19th to September 18th. That is the 30-day duration of the Orange Line shutdown. Trains will make stops at Oak Grove Station during the Orange Line closure. There the explanation that a Charlie card or Charlie ticket will be accepted on all lines for travel in zones 1A, 1 and 2. So again, this is Reading Station, the end of the Haverhill line, as far as zone 2. And now, back to Boston. And now, a guide to the zone 1A, 1 and 2 stations on the Lowell line. So your first station along on the Lowell line, West Medford. And then Wedgmere. And finally on the Lowell line in zone 2, Anderson Woburn. And that concludes the north side for your zone 1A, zone 1 and zone 2 availability for transit options during the Orange Line closure. So now we will make our way to the south side and show you what is available there in zones 1A, 1 and 2. Here we go. Bright and early, a warm welcome to Auburndale Station, adjacent to I-90. And now a summary of the Framingham and Worcester line services that you were able to take during the Orange Line closure in zones 1A, 1 and 2. So, starting of course where we are right now with Auburndale and West Newton. This is Newtonville, just gone there, Newtonville. And Boston Landing, thanks John, Boston Landing, Lansdowne, and we are now at Back Bay Station. Let's go this side. Train is leaving now, and that of course continues. See you, John. Train of course continues into South Station, which is, as you may expect, in zone 1A and also applicable to the zone structure for zone 1A, 1 and 2 that will be applicable during the Orange Line shutdown. So again, we're at Back Bay now, changing here to head onto the Franklin line. So let's see where we can go on there. So this is Back Bay. We are now heading out on the Franklin line. So first up on the Franklin line, Ruggles. And next that was Reedville. That was Reedville. Endicott Station. Endicott. And at the end of the Zone 2 section of the Franklin line, we're at Dedham Corporate Centre on the inbound Boston-bound platform, heading back towards Reedville, where we will be showcasing the Fairmount line next. Slight caveat with the Fairmount line is that the entire line is situated within that Zone 1A, Zone 1 and Zone 2 area, meaning that travel from all of those stations upon production of a Charlie ticket or Charlie card will be free of charge for the 30-day closure period. So these are the stations now, starting from Reedville. And just arriving now, the service from here at Reedville along the Fairmount branch, heading towards South Station. And here are the stations after Reedville that this service calls at. Fairmounts, Blue Hill Avenue, Morton Street, Talbot Avenue, Four Corners, Geneva, Upham's Corner, Newmarket, and that is me back now at South Station. Quick turnaround here, and then I will be on the 8 o'clock service bound for Stoughton, where I'll be getting off the train at Route 128 station to highlight stops on the Providence and Stoughton line. So I will see you back at Route 128 very shortly. I've already tried 2 shots for this segment, so pardon me if I get interrupted once again by the automated station announcements here, but I am at Route 128 station on the Providence Stoughton line. Now, we've already made a couple of stops along this line at Back Bay and Ruggles that will be applicable to services from Route 128 to and from Boston. But there's a couple more stations along the way into Boston that we cover here on this line. So here they are. Firstly, Hyde Park.
Morristown, station stop, Morristown.
Well, as you heard there, over on the other side of the train we have Forest Hill Station along with Oak Grove, one of the two terminal stations on the Orange Line that will be shutting down tonight for that 30-day period. So those are the other two stations in regards to the Providence and Stoughton line. So now, making our way back into Boston, South Station. South Station once again. That right beside me here on track number 5 is the 910 service to Washington boarding. And immediately alongside it, the 920 stopping Northeast Regional service to Washington as well. But in between those two is my next train, the 912 service going to Greenbush. Waiting for a track now. And we're heading down to see the stations in zones 1A, 1 and 2 on the Greenbush line. The first station on this line, even though you're looking at the red line side, is JFK UMass. JFK UMass.
Quincy Center, station stop, Quincy Center.
Took the words right out of my mouth. This is Quincy Center. Weymouth Landing, East Braintree. Made it now to East Weymouth in zone 2 on the Greenbush line. Very quick wait here. The train heading back towards Boston is only a few minutes away. And there's not much else to show you in terms of what we collectively here call the Old Colony lines, because the Middleborough Lakeville line and Kingston lines pretty much match this pattern in terms of the first 3 stations. South Station, obviously, JFK UMass and Quincy Center. So there's only one other station that both of those 2 lines are served by, and I'm going to be heading there right now. So I'm not going to bore you with the journey back to Quincy and then down there. I'm just going to show you straight to Braintree. There we are. So we are now at what is the zone 2 end of both the Middleborough, Lakeville and Kingston lines. Now, just to illustrate this a little better from before, where we were earlier was East Weymouth. That is the zone 2 boundary of the Greenbush line. So that's why we did those 2 stations along with Quincy Center and JFK UMass. But JFK UMass and Quincy Center then go on to Braintree for the sake of these 2 lines. And Braintree being the end for zone 2 on those 2 lines means that all 3 of these lines, collectively called the Old Colony, as previously mentioned, are now covered. And that leaves us just one more line to be done, that being the Needham line. And the Needham line is kind of similar to the Fairmount line in that for the sake of this 30-day period, the fact that every single station is in zone 1A, 1 or 2, it effectively means the entire line is free of charge, of course, on production of that Charlie card or Charlie ticket that you should have. So, head back to South Station now. I've got a little bit of a rest there before I head out to Needham, but pretty much done. Very nearly anyway. Time to enjoy a bit of a ride. And now for our final line of them all, the Needham line. Here goes. So we have Roslindale Village, and this is Bellevue. Highland. West Roxbury. Percy.
Needham Junction. Needham Centre.
And that is me now back at Needham Heights, concluding the Needham line. So now a very brief summary of all the stations and all the lines that you can travel to in this 30-day period free of charge on production of a Charlie ticket or Charlie card to your commuter rail conductor. Starting with the Newburyport-Rockport line, where you can travel to North Station, Chelsea, Riverworks and Lynn. The Haverhill line, North Station, Malden Centre, Oak Grove, additional stops at Oak Grove, Wyoming Hill, Melrose Cedar Park, Melrose Highlands, Greenwood, Wakefield and Reading. The Lowell line, North Station, West Medford, Wedgmere and Anderson Woburn. The Fitchburg line, My Home line, North Station, Porter Square, Belmont, Waverley, Waltham and Brandeis Roberts. The Worcester line, first one on the south side, South Station, Back Bay, Lansdowne, Boston Landing, Newtonville, West Newton and Auburndale. The Needham line, the entirety of the Needham line, all of which is zone 2 or further inwards. So that includes South Station, Back Bay, Ruggles, Forest Hills, Roslindale Village, Bellevue, Highland, West Roxbury, Hersey, Needham Junction, Needham Centre and Needham Heights. The Franklin line, South Station, Back Bay, Ruggles, Reedville, Endicott and Dedham Corporate Centre. The Providence Stoughton line, South Station, Back Bay, Ruggles, Forest Hills, Hyde Park and Route 128. The entirety of the Fairmount line, that being South Station, Newmarket, Upham's Corner, Four Corners Geneva, Talbot Avenue, Morton Street, Blue Hill Avenue, Fairmount and Reedville. The Middleborough, Lakeville and Kingston lines, they share the same pattern of South Station, JFK, UMass, Quincy Centre and Braintree. And last but by no means least, the Greenbush line, very similar to before, South Station, JFK, UMass, Quincy Centre, Weymouth Landing, East Braintree and East Weymouth. That is a complete summary of all the stations and all the lines that you will be able to travel to between now and September 18th. Free of charge, all within Zone 1A, 1 and 2 on production of a Charlie card or Charlie ticket to your conductor. So that's it for another episode of Royce on the Rails. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope this one particularly has been informative and helpful. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, like this video, any comments you've got, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to hear them. But for now, take care and I'll see you again soon.
Train to Greenwich Park 495 is now loading on track 4, making the following station stops.